Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Howdy along with Mike out of this world Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeffrey, we need more Zekin.
There you go.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's a beautiful day here in the neighborhood, and we've got more guests lined up for you. And did you say Emmy?
Emmy
with
is her name.
Webb Motorworks.
Hold on. I goofed. I hit the wrong button. I got in a hurry.
Oh, gosh. Well, we'll get to them.
She's there. She's there. It's just me.
It's okay. Calm down.
She's ready.
We can go an extra hour. What are we going to do?
No. Let's go. Emmy's here. There she is.
Emmy, and who's that you got there with you, Emmy?
Who's the old guy?
Who's the old guy? Who's the guy guarding the gate there?
That would be Don Armstrong.
We're the old guys.
This is the ludicrous inventor, my dad, Chris Webb.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you. Really nice of you to have us on your show here today.
You know, I noticed just a little hint of a Canadian accent there, eh?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're from Victoria, BC, Canada, on the coast.
Oh.
Just from Washington.
Wait a minute. So you're up there on the Heavy Rescue 401.
I don't know what that means.
No.
It's a TV show. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
The 401 is
You
the
don't
road.
get out much. I don't have time to watch TV. I'm too busy building stuff.
Yeah, well.
Well,
Now, I'll tell you what, that particular show would make me not ever want to come up there when the weather is iffy, because it's all about all of the big 18-wheeler wrecks on the 401. You know where the 401 is?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live up there either. I'll tell you, we're smart, us two. We're living in the warmest part of Canada. So Victoria is kind of what we call the banana belt. So we don't really even get snow. So yeah, we're okay here.
Oh, you're in the south, is what you are, of
right
Canada.
He's got the southern
near
Canada
Seattle,
accent.
Washington.
Okay, so let's talk about what we came here to talk about.
Please.
And let's talk about Webb Motorworks and what you guys do up there. Tell us.
Sure, you go ahead, Em.
Okay, I'll tell you. Well, my dad invented the first ever electric motor hidden inside a small block Chevy V8. But that's just the beginning, because really we're starting to expand a little bit and hide these electric motors in V12s as well as flatheads, and who knows where we'll go from there, maybe Hemis. But we're really looking at the future of hot rodding and where electric vehicles are going, and how we can make sure that hot rods stay in the picture and stay relevant as the rest of the world starts heading towards this electrification of cars.
So what we're talking about, Emmy, is well, in our picture, it's down here in the right-hand corner. It looks like a small block Chevy.
Yeah, that's right. That's the Cyber Beast. So that's this is actually my second prototype. So in my haze here, I've got my original prototype, which is a small block Chevy. It's exact shape. It's got the controllers and the motors. Controllers are computers that make everything work.
Sure.
So that's all stuffed in the small block. Looks identical to it. Water, you can have water pumps, whatever. But this particular model I've designed with actually batteries in the block. And then I don't know if you can see it there.
Pull it on over towards where you were setting a little bit more. We get a little bit better shot of it there.
Oh, my God.
Now tell me, put that.
Need to grease those wheels.
Needs oil.
So you actually put a new dress on an EV powertrain, basically.
Exactly, yeah, because, and hey, there's lots of guys out there doing stuff, and it looks quite modernistic, which a lot of people like, but us old timers, we kind of like the look of our small block Chevys or our flathead V8, so at least it'll still look cool.
As you finish out your project with the EV powertrain built within whatever engine body you want, do you also tune in a soundtrack to go along with it? So it still has.
You know what? There's about 3 manufacturers that make those, but I got one even better. I thought, where the exhaust pipe is? I was going to put a bubble machine and have bubbles shooting.
That's funny. That's
You know what? Hey, I'll tell you something that's cool though. You know, that is one of the things is people are like, I don't get the sound and this and that. Think of this case. So this is an old logging truck. They were actually made up in Canada here. And 36, I got this when I was 16. It was my grandfather's truck. So you're at a car show. This thing just kind of slides in nice and quiet. And all of a sudden I put the line locks in and I just smoke those tires up, and all you hear is the rocks clicking that are stuck in the ribs of the tire.
Yeah.
And to me, that's cooler than a noisy car.
And then if you put it in a Mustang body, you'll wreck the Mustang. No, I'm sorry. That's
another.
Well, no, actually, we're actually doing a Camaro next, a 69 Z28 Camaro, and you know, they had the 302. They're beautiful cars, and the thing is, a lot of guys out there might be saying, don't wreck a beautiful car like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the 302 out and we're going to, you know, seal it all up and kind of mothball it. We got you know, we're going to keep it in a controlled room for temperature and that, so that if in the future, you know, that car is really rare, you can easily put your gas motor back in. We'll keep the exhaust system and all that, you know, so, and we're not going to
destroy it.
Yeah, because literally the motor mounts are the same. What you're building is it's a bolt-in installation.
So it bolts in and it actually bolts up to the transmission, whether it's a torque converter or a manual clutch and stuff.
That's right. Emmy and I and Kelsey, we popped this in my truck, like I had it all ready, and they helped me, and boom, it was in like 20 minutes. But you know, in this particular case, we had to have separate batteries. I actually got a hollowed out V12 Lincoln in the back with an old oil drum. We can show you that later. The batteries are hidden underneath that. So the Cyber Beast here, this one has the batteries in the block, and it's got the motor here and a gear reduction. So this thing just slips in. All the batteries, everything has been set up at the factory, and this is a complete bolt-in. And, you know, on a weekend, all of a sudden your 32 Ford is now electric.
So what kind of an electric motor are you using in there?
Well, my first prototype, I used HP EVS. It's lower voltage because I didn't want to get into the high voltage right to start. It was a prototype. It only has 126 horsepower, but 260 foot-pounds of torque at 1 RPM. So it lights the tires up like a 5,000-pound truck. The Camaro, which we're going to probably be taking to SEMA, everybody at SEMA is going to go, I don't want 125 horsepower. So the Camaro is probably going to have 500 horsepower. And, you know, the interesting thing about the electric motors is one particular motor, if you go 400 volts, it's 375 horsepower. And then if you boost the voltage up to 700, now all of a sudden you get 500 horsepower. But the torque is the same. It's still 365 foot-pounds of torque. Because as you guys know, horsepower is related to torque and RPM. Right. You know, so the higher the RPM, the higher the horsepower you got. It's this immediate torque that you know
sets it apart.
That's what got me with these electric motors.
Chris, what are you doing for batteries, and what's the length life of the charge?
Range.
Yeah, the range. Well, depending on how much money you got. So. Yeah, right? You know, I mean, you can get a bigger battery. That's the part of the problem is the battery cost, you know. So when I did this prototype here, I had a 20 kilowatt pack. It was 10,000 Canadian, which is what, about $7 or $8 US down there. But
we caught it.
I wanted this one. I wanted to keep the cost down, and I wanted to be able to just more or less go to a car show or a coffee shop. I only needed about a 40-mile range for my prototype. Now, I know arguably you guys, you're probably thinking, well, you know, we want 120, we want 200-mile range. Well, you just increase the size of the battery packs, you know. And that's one of the nice things about the Cyber Beast here. It gives you a good weight distribution. So you got the weight of the batteries at the front, and then you can put some under your seat or in your trunk or whatever, depending on what car you're doing.
So what type of battery are you using? Using NiCads, nickels?
LiFePro. Lithium-ion.
Lithium. Okay.
So you got the batteries inside the block there of the Beast, and then And so if you wanted the more juice, then you put it. Let's say you put it in the trunk. weight
yeah, you
distribution.
can have a secondary pack. So if you wanted your, 500, 700 horsepower, then you just have a secondary pack in the trunk, and then you don't have to worry about the weight because now all of a sudden you got 700 horsepower. But this is part of the problem is I don't want guys putting these things in their car without changing, their drivetrain and putting in a proper rear end. We just did a video the other day. I was doing a burnout in my MG. I got a 56 MGA here with my V16 in it. But my daughter's like, do a burnout, Dad. And I'm doing a burnout. We actually got it with me snapping the axle.
I saw that. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
YouTube.
Yeah, it just pops.
Yeah. So there you go. You put the high horsepower and make sure you beef up the rear end.
Yeah.
I just ordered new axles for it, So
are you building these to sell?
Yes, not at the moment. Right now we're prototyping. We're going to prototype 4 cars to take down to SEMA this year. Hopefully it's open. I'm pretty sure it's going to be. So we're going to do the 69 Camaro with the 350 to 500 horsepower with its own 4-speed, batteries in the back. And then we're going to do a 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible. That's going to have my Cyber Beast 2. So it's similar to this, but what I did is I made it a little bit bigger. So these motors, small block Chevys, normally 22 inches with around a 7-inch water pump. So they're 29 inches long. So what I wanted to do is make Cyber Beast 2 still fit in that parameter, use the same motor mounts, but by eliminating the water pump. Well, this one doesn't even have a water pump. You don't need a water pump. We have an internal water pump. But so it's going to look like a V12. And I can show you, we can move the camera around later and kind of show you what that is. And it's going to be, it was kind of Emmy's idea to have a little bit of more modernistic look, but it's still going to look like a V12 Chevy. And as a matter of fact, as you guys know, Chevy did actually make a V12 in the early 60s. Did you know that?
GM did. It was used in some of the pickup trucks, in the bigger trucks, not pickups, but the bigger trucks.
Yeah, the big trucks. It was a stationary engine. It was like essentially almost 2 V6s put together. It had double valve covers and that. It was 702 cubic inches. It weighed 1,500 pounds, I believe.
So,
I think there's a couple guys, they may be down in Texas who are rebuilding those motors now.
Chris,
but they're really heavy.
Chris,
cool,
so are you going to sell just the motor? Are you going to line up installation? How is that going to work?
Well, the thing about the installation is what we want to do is make it a plug-and-play package. So arguably, if you guys have pulled the motor out of a car, I want you guys to be able to do it yourself. The part that you won't be able to do, and myself, because I'm an old fart, is that controlling the computers, working on, hook it up to your laptop. We don't know how to do that type of stuff. So I want to have all that done at the factory. The computer's all set up. The batteries, you have to balance the batteries. These are some technical points that the average guy doesn't know about. So, I want it so that you can do it yourself. Now, certainly there's a lot of EV companies popping up around the country. So what they'll do is they'll just go on our website. They'll tell us what I want. I want a V8. I want a lot of guys maybe might like my V12 flathead, for 32 Fords and that. And then they'll tell us what range they want. So we'll say, okay, that's a light car. You're 32 Ford. You don't have a lot of room for batteries. Why don't we give you a 40 kilowatt pack? That'll give you 120 miles, and then ship it to them. And then on a weekend, they pop her in and away they go.
So you're basically wanting to sell a plug and play,
a crate engine.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What part does Emmy have in this? Is she designer or marketing? Is Emmy turning wrenches on this or what?
She helps out in the garage a lot. She's actually an industrial designer. You know what? She's actually going to be the CEO company because, I don't like doing the computer stuff. And like when you guys contacted her, it would sit in my email for a year, and then I'd go, "Oh, these guys down in Houston wanted to see us quick." It's like, well, that was a year ago, Chris. So she handles all that end of it, and she got me on Instagram. She does my website. she's invaluable. You know, if, investors, she talks to investors, different things like that. You know, so yeah, that's kind of her role.
But we've noticed that you've done all the talking here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, go ahead. And, you know, sorry, my apologies.
She's the brains, you're the brawn. And he walks off screen.
Oh, you Canadians are such clowns up there.
A lot of jocularity going on up there.
Jocularity. There we go, right there. So, Emmy.
Let Emily talk about why I did it and kind of why she likes the idea. How's that sound?
Well, it gives you both something to do.
It's been a really fun project to work on together. I originally came up with the idea to put an electric motor in a hot rod after I saw, you know, all these people down south in California starting to do these electric conversions on old hot rods. And being someone who always wanted to drive a hot rod myself but didn't have any experience working on an ICE engine, I thought that an electric motor would be the perfect opportunity for me to drive a reliable hot rod. And because my dad had already invented the flathead kit, which was essentially the same thing, an aluminum shroud that changes a small block Chevy into a flathead V8, V12, or even a V16. He already had this knowledge of developing patterns, getting them cast in aluminum and welding them together to suit up these cars and change the perception of the engine. So when I brought up the idea of making an electric hot rod, honestly, it was a natural progression to just develop these kits for the electric engine. And that's when everything really took off for us.
So you've mentioned flathead a couple of times. Could that engine I'm looking at right there be a flathead?
Yeah, so actually, can we move the camera? Why don't we show you how much time do we have? You got a few minutes, guys?
We're about out of time. We'll look at that again. I was just curious.
Well, just shoot the camera right over here, just so they can quickly see. This is a small block Chevy inside, but it looks like a flathead.
Oh, okay.
And then if you zip over to the MG there, I know we're running out of time. This is my 56 MGA. I've had this for 44 years, and that's a small block Chevy made to look like a V16 flathead.
Boy, I bet you that scares people when you pull into a meet.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're all about. Flatheads I love.
You're going to get those Mounties after you.
Listen, we Dudley Do Right.
Oh, yeah, they're always knocking on my door, those guys.
No
They're
doubt.
good guys, though.
Well, listen,
you offer them 3 or 4 beers, they have them, and then they drive off. They're good.
We want to come up there and party with you guys. Listen, it's a real pleasure to talk to you. Webb Motorworks and webbmotorworks.com. That's with 2 B's, WBBmotorworks.com. Yep. Chris, Emmy, it's great to talk to you guys. Thanks so much for giving us a tour of the place up there in BC. And
we need to get back with them before SEMA and see how they're coming on the project.
Let's make let's make a plan on doing that over the summer, and we will talk with you and see how hot it is up there in the south of Canada.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm hoping it'll warm up. Notice we got our coats on, eh?
Yeah. Stay off the 401.
Yeah, stay off the 401.
Yeah, right. Wherever that is.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh.
So cool.
Yeah, that is and what a fun
family
that would be.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. It's
just
time.
give 'em beers.
I want to remind you that it is easy to get a hold of us. Shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. Conrad's had more papers than usual that he brought to the show today. And so what are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk a little bit about the technician world. You know, when you look at the law of averages, the typical dealership technician is a man. About 1% of them are women, and that's kind of growing as well. The average technician is about 40 years old. He has 19 years of experience as a technician. They earn, in 2016, about $55,000 a year. In 2020, they're earning about $70,000 a year, so they're seeing increase in their pay. They get paid by the job. They flag for their job. They don't get paid by the hour. So if the book says that job pays 2 hours, he gets paid 2 hours, whether he spends 3 hours on it or whether he spends 1 hour on it.
But the hourly rate is based on the shop rate.
The shop rate, right?
So your independent shop is different than a dealership shop.
Can be. You know, some independent shops are above dealership
they're up there,
shops.
yeah.
You know, they've been on their current job 3.8 years on average, which means they have a tendency to move around quite a bit. They typically are on the job about 43 hours a week. They spend up to 70% of their time on maintenance and light repair. My world. They spend in their lifetime, they're going to spend up to $50,000 or more on tools. You know, you're looking at some of these high-tech toolboxes today are $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. They say he would not recommend his work, my job, to a friend because it's pretty intense. You know, most shops are not air conditioned. There's some out there that are now. It's kind of hard work.
It's continual education as well.
So again, when you look at the average technician, that's what you're looking at, and it's a depleting base of people right now. There's not a lot of people going into the technician industry, and dealerships and independent shops are screaming for technicians. So it's a great job opportunity for anybody who's interested.
My son, Jason, has been with Lexus, I want to say, for 10, 12 years.
Oh, yes. Certain brands hold people quite a bit longer. And then, we've had places here on the show, Houston Community College, San Jacinto College, and such. You know, there's places here in Houston that offer that education. So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
It's good.
Very nice.
You know, some of the older established independent garages have guys that have worked there for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'll spend a whole career there
in one shop.
Yeah.
Not uncommon.
And that's really a boon to who they are and the people that they work for.
And the quality of work that they
Correct.
do, because if you're a scoundrel, you don't last.
And how you're treated by the managers and ownership, exactly.
Yes, I remember the Richardson brothers always used to give us a canned ham for Christmas.
Nice.
A canned ham.
Yeah, nice.
One of those
as opposed to a can of Spam.
One of those that you used to
with the key.
Peel the key off
Yep.
that was glued on the lid,
Yep.
and then you'd crank all the way around it.
And it had this. It was kind of this oval shape, and it was
with the jelly on it.
No,
the ham
it was
jelly.
packed in Vaseline.
And you wondered, what is this exactly that we're going to eat?
and then you ate it.
I didn't.
And it was good.
Even my mother went, I'm sorry, honey, we're going to have to give that to the poor people.
Did it say WW2 surplus on it, or
no?
Spam.
I think it was a Hormel canned ham.
Hormel,
I think they
that's
still
right.
make those things.
Yes,
don't
they
do.
They do.
yummy?
Okay.
Well, you asked me to keep it short, so I did.
That's right.
I did? I didn't ask you to keep it short.
Packed in jelly.
Packed in jelly.
The Chicago Auto Show is going to return in July. The event will be smaller than usual and run only half as long as normal times. But there will be a Chicago Auto Show at McCormick Place this year, the first really large gathering allowed in Chicago since the pandemic began, according to Deputy Governor Dan Hines and Dave Sloan, president of the show sponsoring Chicago Auto Association. The show will take place July 15th through the 19th if you're into the Chicago Auto Show.
They're just jealous of Houston.
Houston's first.
Ford Motor Company is reportedly reconstituting an old name for one of its newest electric vehicles. The automaker plans to call the electric version of its full-size pickup and top-selling model the F-150 Lightning, according to Car and Driver.
That works.
Which cited an internal document provided by a source. The vehicle is expected to go on sale in the middle of next year, so look for the Lightning to return.
So Ram Trucks is going to join with Foo Fighters to launch a new advertising campaign to shine a spotlight on everyday rock stars. So maybe Jeff can be a part of that.
Yep.
All right. U.S. sales at Toyota Motor, Honda, American Honda, Hyundai, Subaru, and Kia more than doubled in April behind strong retail and light truck demand, setting monthly records at several companies. Ford volume rose almost 65%. And in the latest sign, the market continues to run hot. fueled by stimulus outlays while mostly avoiding the impact of falling inventories from tight chip supplies. The seasonally adjusted annualized rate, or SAR, of sales for April was 18.5 million.
Wow.
Well above forecasts and a high for the month, according to Motor Intelligence. And that just goes to prove about this whole chip thing. The auto industry had no clue that sales would go through the roof as quickly as they have. And once again, I will say to you that if you are in the market for a new car, you better snap one up pretty quick, because there's going to be a shortage of used cars.
We used to use that SARS template quite often because it was very, very accurate.
We are going to take a quick break, and we are going to finish up today's show after these messages. Stay with us.
Whether you own a newer car or want to keep your older one humming along for a while longer, think of Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln to keep things in tip-top shape. From oil changes to major repairs, you can depend on the highly skilled service pros at Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevrolet, and Bayway Lincoln to perform fast, efficient service to keep your investment running strong. For all your service needs, remember Bayway. Schedule your next appointment online anytime. Bayway, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, May 15th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, May 15th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, May 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
NHRA Camping World Drag Racing. It's an 11,000 horsepower Nitro Rodeo coming to Houston Raceway Park in Baytown. Catch all the Nitro and Pro stock action at the Mopar Express Lane NHRA Spring Nationals, presented by Pennzoil, May 21st through 23rd. Matt Hagan, Leah Pruitt, Erica Enders, 3-time world champ Steve Thorns, and 16-time himself John Force. Kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Get tickets at HoustonRaceway.com. Houston's got horsepower.
Don't miss the first ever Houston Summer Auto Show, May 19th through the 23rd at NRG Center. A limited edition collection of your favorite brands and models, including the new Ford Bronco and Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Tickets online only at HoustonAutoShow.com.
It better not be messing up anything, is all I got to say.
No, we're good.
Well, that's it for this episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like. Tell your friends about us and share our junk if you don't mind. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on your favorite podcast outlet. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our Marketing Manager and Video Technical Director, Jeffrey D.Z. Zekin. For booking agent and podcast man Mike Out of This World Mars and his royalty King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. You're invited to join us for our next live show next Saturday, 8 to 11 Central Time, when we'll be coming to you from this month's Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex Restaurant on Highway 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard. That's just south of I-10 in Katy, right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Today's show is produced by Susie Armstrong. So long for now, and enjoy your weekend. Shots for everybody. Woo-hoo.